Hey, this is René. Welcome to another video of this CCI Expert Advisor series. This is the fourth video already, so we will add a partial close to our program. Right now we have a CCI Expert Advisor that opens positions on CCI signals and it has a moving average filter. But now we will add a partial close, and this is a really cool thing to do in MetaTrader 5 and this is really easy. Because we already included this trade class here, and this trade class will give us the option to partial close positions. But first of all, we will have to find the positions that we want to partially close. So what I would always recommend is partial close points. We can, for example, have a input for this, and we want to say maybe after 70 points in profit, we want to realize half of our position. So, for this purpose, we can say partial close percent, 50%, for example. Or we can have a factor, partial close factor like this. So, until now, we just created these two input variables, nothing really new here. But what we now have to do is, since we have several positions opened, and there can be several positions open at the same time. So if I run the program just one more time, I will show you the issue. We can have several positions. I mean, in the worst case, we will have 10 positions open pretty much, and we will have to take care of all of these. So you can see we have 3 positions. Every position has to be managed. So for this purpose, we can create a loop. And there is a basic or standard loop for this purpose. This is a for loop. And I will write it down real quick, and then I will explain it in detail. So like this. So this is a loop. Just copy these 3 lines, please. And they are built like this. You have this keyword for, which is just like if, a word that tells the compiler that there is a for loop following. Then in round brackets, we have a precondition, which is this part before the first semicolon, and this is executed once when the for loop is initialized pretty much. So we create an integer variable which is called I, and this variable only stays alive for the runtime of the loop, and you can only access it in the body of the loop. So if I want to update it here, it is not known because it is only known inside of the loop. And this variable will be initialized with a return value of positions total. And positions total is, as you already imagined maybe, is just a function that returns the number of open positions in a account or in your account. So we initialize I with the return value of this positions total function -1. This is important. I will explain it in a second. And then between the first and the second semicolon of a if statement, there is the main condition pretty much. This condition is checked before every run of the loop. So if this condition is true, we will enter the body of this if statement and execute everything that is inside here. Afterwards, we will have I think it is the, past condition. I don't really know the technical term here in English. So after every run of the loop, we will subtract 1 from this I value. So this minus is just a shorter form of writing this. I is equal to I -1. So this would not throw an error, and this is exactly, the same as writing this. So this minus operator just says that you want to subtract 1 from any value pretty much. So we initialize the value I with this value. Then before every run of the loop, we check if I is greater or equal 0. Then after every run of the loop, we subtract 1 from I. So I will be reduced with every run of the loop. So this makes sure that at some point we will end the loop. when we checked all the positions. So I want to demonstrate this real quick. So this is why I added this print statement where I just print the value stored inside of the I variable. So here you can see we have one open position. So we always print 0, and this is because the position's total function will return 1. Because we have one open position. Then we subtract 1 from this value, which makes it 0, and we will then store this value inside of the I variable. Then the program checks if I is greater or equal to 0, which is true because it is 0. So we enter the body. Then I is subtracted, or 1 is subtracted from this I variable, which makes it -1. Then on the second check of this condition, this is not true because -1 is not greater or equal to 0. So we do not enter the body again, and we will move on with the following source code. So what happens if we have a second position? So let me speed it up a little bit. So if we have, like this, if we have 2 positions, we have to wait until it updates here. You can see now it prints 0 and 2 and 1, sorry, because now the position's total function will return 2. It will be subtracted, or 1 will be subtracted from this value, so we have 1. So we loop 2 times, because first the value is 1, which is greater or equal to 0, then it is subtracted by 1, and then it is 0, which is still greater or equal to 0. So we print it another time. And if we have a third position, wait, let me find the right testing window here. If we have a third position, this will change again. As you can see here, now we have 0, 1, and 2 printed. And why is this important? This is a loop that you can always use to loop over all your open positions, because the positions in your trade window here, they have a index number, and the last position, or the position at the top, has the index number 0. This has index 1, this has index 2. And as you can already see, the numbers are matching to the values stored inside of this I variable. So we can now use this position index to receive the position ticket. So we can use let me do it like this. Position ticket is position get ticket, and it needs a position index. And this is great because we have a position index stored inside of our I variable. So we can use this position get ticket variable function. Sorry, I'm messing this up a lot in this video. So we use this position get ticket function, and we provide one parameter, which is the index that is stored inside of our I variable, and it returns a unsigned long value. And a unsigned long value, I mean, you can read about everything in the documentation, so this is why it is so valuable. A long value is just like a integer value. It can store values without a decimal point. So it is pretty much the same, but there is a major difference, because you can see here, this works if I have a number like this. We do not get any warning or something. But at the moment when the number becomes too big, there is a warning, because an integer variable cannot hold such a big number. This is why you will have to use a long variable for this, because a long variable, it reserves more space in your memory of your PC, so you can store bigger values inside of it. So this is why there's a difference between the integer and the long data type. And maybe you ask yourself what this little u does is it can be written inside or before this data type pretty much, and it just says unsigned. So you cannot store negative values inside of a unsigned variable like this. This will not work, but it will automatically make it a positive value. So you would have to use a normal integer or long variable data type if you want to store negative values. But for unsigned data types, you can only store positive values. And position tickets in mql5 are always handled as unsigned long values, so you will have to create a unsigned long variable to store this value. So if we print this ticket here, we will now see that this is a really good way of receiving the ticket numbers of all the open positions using their index. So I will run this again. You will now see once we have 1, 2, or 3 positions, we will see the position tickets of these positions printed in the expert's journal. So whoops, there we have 2 positions. So the index 0 should hold the position ticket ID 3. Oh yeah, and I messed the order up. So it is the other way around. This is index 0, this is index 1. But you can see index 0 now gives us the position ticket 2, and index 1 gives us the position ticket 3. And again, if we open another third position, we will of course also see this position at index 2, like this. So what can we do with this now? We can now select a position select using this ticket number. So we can provide this position ticket, and the position select by ticket function automatically returns a Boolean value. So if we are able to select a position using this position ticket number, we then enter the body of this if statement. And here we first of all want to calculate some values. So we want to have the position open price, and we can get it using the position get double function. There are position get double, position get integer, and position get string functions to receive information from a currently selected position. So this position get double function will always refer to the currently selected position. So you should always use the position get select function before using the position get double function. And we can now provide one of these IDs here, and we want to have the price open, because this will return the open price that we will then store inside of this position open price variable. And we also want to have the position type. So we can create a position type variable of type enum position type. This is just another enumeration which can hold position type by or position type cell. And we can get it using the position get integer function, because here you can see we have the position type ID or identifier that we can use. And if we compile this, there will be a warning, because we explicitly have to say that this is indeed a enum position type data type that we receive using the position get integer function. And we can do this by using a so-called typecast, and this is done by writing the type that you want to cast this return value to. You write it in round brackets before the position get integer function call. So now we can check if the position type is equal position type by, because in this case we have a by position, and then we want to check if the current bit price is above a certain level. And since we already calculated the ask and bit price here, we can use these variables, right? So let's try this. We can say if the bit price is above the position open price plus, and this is where our partial close points come into play, partial close points multiplied with points like this. So if the bid price is above the position open price plus this trigger points here, these trigger points, then we want to process the partial close, right? So if we compile this, there is an error. And this is because this bit variable is not known here. This is why we will have to move this piece of code outside of this if statement, and we will have to move it at the top of our onTick function, because in this case it is now known at this point in the source code. And same for the ask price calculation, because we will need it later on for the cell positions. So make sure to also move it to the top of this onTick function. So now we check if the trigger is reached and we have to close the position partially. So first of all, we check the position volume. So double position volume, and we can use the position get double function for this because it is a double value, of course, it is the lot size. So we check if the position volume is equal to the lot's input, because this means that the position was not partially closed already. Then we calculate the lots that we want to close. So we take the position volume multiplied with this partial close factor like this, and then it is always a good idea to round it, because this may lead to a value that is not a valid lot size. So we should round it to a precision of 2 digits. And now we can use the trait position close partial function, and then we provide a position ticket. We provide the lots that we want to close, and this is it. If this closed the position, then we can add a handy, we do not do this here, we add a handy print statement here, like a position, and then we can add the position ticket was closed partially because we programmed it this way. So if we add this print statement here, you should see that no or buy positions can be closed partially if they run into profit, if they run 70 points into the profitable area. So I hope that I can demonstrate this somewhere for the first trades already. So there we have the first market position, 0.1 lots, and we want to close 0.05 of these lots if we hit the trigger for this. So yeah, I mean, this is always hard to move this button here, because there's some turbo mode if you move it too far to the right. But you can see position 2 was closed partially because we programmed it this way. And indeed, you can see there is a deal in the history where we closed half of the position lot size, and the remaining position is only half as big as it was before. So I think our partial close is working, and it is not executed twice or 3 times, because now the volume or the lot size is smaller than the initial lot size. And this is why we have this if statement to check this. So you can see, yeah, positions are closed partially. If the trigger is reached, everything is working fine. And yeah, this is just as you can see it in the history. I mean, there will be positions that are not closed partially if they are sell positions, because we will have to add the code, or if they hit the initial stop loss. But what we will do now is we will add this code for the sell positions, so we can just copy this pretty much and combine it using a else if. So as you can see, this was the piece of code that we had before. This is the piece of code that are now added. And we will of course have to make some changes here. So we check if it is a sell position, then we check if the ask is smaller than the position open price minus, in this case, partial close points. This remains the same. This is also the same. So in this case, we can of course also move it. Oh yeah, we can make some changes. So for example, we can say we want to check if the position volume is equal to lots up here, because it is the same for buy and sell positions. So it is always a good idea to write it at the top and do not write it 2 times. So there's some rearranging for our code. Make sure that you always use the tab, this tab on your keyboard to move code to the right, which is inside of a body or something. So this makes your code structured. And you can also use the styler for this. This is the styler. You can use it, yeah, if you want to. But yeah, so we moved this to the top because we will have to check it for buy and sell positions. And this calculation is also done for buy and sell positions. So we can just also move it here. So we do not have to do it twice. And yeah, then we can delete this piece of code and compile this. And yeah, this is fine now, I think. So this is the piece of code that loops all the open positions and checks if there's the need to partially close a position. Yeah, this is it. This is how you can add a partial close function to your program. And again, you can use this function. You can pretty much just copy this block to any other program and yeah, use it there. So this is a great way of implementing a partial close. So if we look at our game plan again, we now added the partial close. We will in the next tutorial add a break-even stop. The process is pretty similar to what we did already, so it will be a shorter video, but still it is worth watching. So you should subscribe if you are not subscribed already. And again, you should like all the videos in this series because it really helps me and YouTube to suggest the content to more traders. Okay, thanks for watching and see you next time. Have a great time. Bye bye.